What does nature mean to you? When it comes to preserving and protecting nature, World Wildlife Fund survey finds that Americans are totally united. Today I have Lauren Mayer, Chief Operating Officer for World Wildlife Fund. Good morning, Lauren. How are you?
Good morning. I'm so happy to be here and to have a chance to talk about nature. It's really such a thing that unites us as Americans.
Yes, it does. So, what is the World Wildlife Fund?
Well, we are the world's largest conservation organization. We've been around over 60 years and we work in over 100 countries. People might know us from our work with endangered species, but one of the things we realized early on is that if you want to protect species, you have to protect their habitats. And it turns out that when you start to conserve entire ecosystems, all the species benefit, including us. So we work in a lot of different ways with a lot of different partners. That includes trying to protect iconic species like the bison in the northern Great Plains, but also cleaning up rivers and lakes so that there's clean drinking water, and partnering with schools to teach children about food loss and waste.
Now, give us a few examples of how we rely on nature in our everyday lives without even realizing.
Yeah. Often we think about nature as something that surrounds us, but the reality is that nature is something that sustains us. So, for example, healthy oceans that are full of life, that provides 50% of the oxygen that we breathe. And that's the primary source of protein, those oceans, for over 3 billion people. Three-quarters of the world rely on forests for their food and fuel and medicines. In fact, 63% of medicines come from nature. And even the concrete in the buildings that's all around us, that comes from sand, that's from riverbeds and from beaches. So the survey that we did shows that Americans do appreciate nature, but they think about it as something that's kind of out there. They don't necessarily see its connection to their everyday lives. It's invisible. You don't think about it as the cotton that's in my shirt or the wood that's in the chair I'm sitting on. And at WWF, we really want to try to help make those invisible connections more visible.
Now, what are some easy ways the average American families can help conserve precious natural resources?
There are lots of things that families can do. So food waste is a big problem in this country. So just when you go to the grocery store, being smart about what it is that you're putting in your cart, and then thinking at dinner time, how much food do you need to cook for that meal? That can help each and every family doing their part. Also helping to clean up the neighborhoods around us and thinking about the amount of plastic that we use. We know that the equivalent of one garbage truck full of plastic enters the ocean every minute. That's a tremendous amount. So thinking about how we use plastic can make a difference. And in this back to school moment, just thinking about what we pack in our kids' lunch boxes using reusable water bottles or other packaging, that can help make a difference. And how we wash our clothes using cold water instead of hot, that uses 1/10 the energy.
But I'm sitting here thinking, I don't mean to throw you a curve. Why do we put so much plastic in the ocean? We know it's going to harm us.
Plastic is just ubiquitous. It's in so many products. We just don't even think about it. I don't even think that we see it. And we need to get better in terms of what we use and then also how we think about the reusing and recycling what we have.
Well, some of them, what are some of those surprising results from the new Globe Scan Nature Survey, and what does that mean to WWF moving forward?
Yeah, well, some of the surprising findings were actually some of the best, which is that Americans are really united in their love of nature and their desire to spend time in nature and in their desire to protect it. So what we learned is that 3 out of 4 Americans view nature as an essential part of our cultural identity. It's who we are, whether that's the bald eagle or our national parks or where you take a walk locally in your neighborhood. It's an intrinsic American value. We also learned that 84% of people are concerned about threats to nature, with 6 in 10 being extremely or very concerned. So at WWF, we're trying to do our part to address those threats, working with a range of partners, governments, businesses, communities, individuals, so that we can take on those most pressing threats.
Now, how does family influence the way you see nature?
Yeah, family has a big influence. That's one of the things that we learned in this survey. The way that you come to understand and appreciate nature, it's not from the messaging you see from media. It really is about your immediate experience going out and being in the world. And family and friends makes a huge difference with that. Getting out into nature with our family, particularly when you're young, it makes a really big difference. I know for me as a kid, my parents took me to the beach, and just that experience of seeing those tidal pools and seeing the jellyfish or the horseshoe crabs, it just really inspired me to think more about the world and be connected. Those kind of connections, they really matter. We also know that most Americans want to protect nature for future generations, and parents and families play a huge role in that. Just talking about nature, talking about where your food comes from at the table, can really help children understand their connection to the natural world. They listen to us and they're looking up to us on that.
Now, where can our viewers go for more information?
You can go to WWF.org. You can find out everything about our Connected by Nature survey, or you can follow us on social media on Instagram or TikTok to learn why nature needs us now.
There's two things I just thought about. One, we just experienced the death of Robert Redford, and he was somebody who was very concerned about the environment. That's sad to lose him. And Lauren, hearing you talk about that, the presidential election's coming up in a few years. We need a naturalist, that person out there. Why don't you run for president, Lauren? We need you, Lauren. We need you.
Well, one of the great things from the survey was seeing how much nature matters to everybody, all ages, all places. It's something that we all agree on in this country.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us on Morning Blend. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.